Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do get started, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku, Marcy, and Chloe. After what happened at Gamora, they had information. Some quite vital, and some they're not quite sure of yet. Searchlight Airport. There are a lot of things that line up with that location. Having a massive military station there, the fact that part of the facility is underground, the idea that they're being built underground in a place where their ancestors retreated a long time ago. Not just that. If you put these things together, it explains a few things about what happened. The day the bombs fell, their ancestors were making their way through the airport and led to a vault. Camp Searchlight, it's the location they have. The tracker is heading that way, and right now, they are heading the opposite direction. They need to get out of Vegas before that man gets back to the lair. Or, well, the facility. Whatever one. However, Deku, Marcy, and Chloe decide to head to Nellis Air Force Base in search of machine components for a beacon. They want to inform their people to cancel selection. If they do, it will help them out immensely. If they can get any form of contact through, they can tell them about what's happening. And speaking of that, what's happening with the group is also quite simple. On their way, they took a break, and whenever Marcy and Chloe were teasing Deku a bit, he changed the tone of this entire situation, bringing up the tension between the two. And Deku, yeah, he wasn't too sure how to fix this. Marcy and Chloe have been trying to put aside this personal bias for some time. However, talking it through is a lot more difficult, especially after they survived an artillery bombardment from Nellis Air Force, met Mother Pearl, and had to get treated. Later in the day, Marcy, she treated some of the boomers who were injured at the doctor's barracks. And Mother Pearl, she extended an invitation for them to all stay. They're staying at a place inhabited by the residents of Vault 34, a nearby vault that these people came from. These are descendants of other vault dwellers. And this had the group quite happy about this. Nellis is private. It's closed off. The Enclave could not infiltrate these ranks if they wanted to. The moment you step onto that damn road, they have you zeroed in by the fucking hair on your head. They might be able to hit you. But even then, you either turn around or you get spread into some pretty thin paste across that damn road. The choice is yours. Though Deku, him, Marcy, and Chloe, they all shared a drink and a bit of a chat, where Marcy realized one simple thing. If she has Deku, and Deku has Marcy, where does that leave her? She doesn't want to be left alone. That's where that leaves her. And Marcy, she had to think about that for a minute, especially after the conversation earlier in the day about partners. Now then, with that being said, we do have the next morning, where Deku, he does lay there in bed and asleep. Right now, him beginning to start to surface. As his eyes, they do somewhat start to flicker open. And he does sit there, sucking in a breath and trying to think. It almost reminds him of home. He can hear activity outside, people doing a few things, and then they do hear a loud boom. Deku jumping up, as so does Marcy and Chloe. And this, it does make them sit there for a second and wait, before they do hear an explosion in the distance. and someone, assumably, is running on that damn road. And they do to wait. Currently, Deku sitting there, as there is a knock on their door a few minutes later. The group getting ready for the day and trying to talk about a few things. Currently, Deku walking over and going to pull open the door, and the person, they do just stand there as they do to pull the uniforms forwards and shove them at Deku and his group, expressing, Mother Pearl told her to give them these. You're the Master at Arms, Raquel, and you're healing faster. Yeah, side effect of the mutations. Sorry, that was unprofessional. Just, is it gonna scar over? Uh, no, I don't think it would. It hit me pretty deep, but I'll be fine. Trust me, I've been through a bit worse. That's not comforting about how people perceive the outside world. Right. So, what is it? Other than delivering those outfits, we were hoping to get your help. You want some of our equipment, is that correct? That would be correct. Raquel, can I come in? Deku turning. Elvish is going to step into the room just a turn. Right now her aware as to what should be here and what should not be. And this old barracks, they did get it a little bit more cleaned up. They weren't using it for anything. Mainly, it does have some storage on the far side. However, she does get to see the empty soda bottles and the empty whiskey containers. Her turning and going to tell them. Right. Loyal, he's over in one of the hangars. He needs help with a few things. Their solar array is currently malfunctioning. Along with that, they have a nasty infestation. So, if they're willing to go down there and help clear out the infestation, that would be a major help. Their people have also dealt with the fact that the ants down there have harmed some of their people. And if she's correct, she's Marcy, correct? Yes. Marcy has already helped them. Our doctor informed me of it this morning. They should be making a full recovery. Don't mistake that for acceptance. We're still keeping you at arm's length and curious about you. You're all claiming to be vault dwellers, and Mother Pearl's told me some things that are quite interesting to hear about. Now, when you can get dressed, afterwards, I believe that you should all find rules. Figure out what you're going to be doing and what you can't do. If that would be much amenable. As for your technology, I'll see what I can find. Put together. Alright? Does that sound fair? It does. Tell Mother Pearl we said thank you. Her nodding her head and turning, walking out the door and closing it quickly. And Izuku does go to set these modified vault suits onto the bed. Him staring at the bomber jacket they have on them. As he as I talk about it. Him going to look at the sizes and find the biggest one. Currently, him going to bring his hand up and go to someone stretched, telling them about what's happening. And Izuku, he does go to pull the bomber jacket off of one of the vault suits. Him setting it down and then going to begin a change. Before he does step out. Currently, him with a bomber jacket on and with the vault pants on. Turning and going to step down as he does go to bring one of his legs up. And this, it definitely does feel a lot more comfortable. The shirt, it's going to get caught on some of the smaller spikes on Deku's spine. It definitely does feel nicer though. The jacket will protect his body from the sun, Though his head, not yet. He's still got the bandana. And, well, that's another thing. The two gonna step out, and Marcy, she currently does stand there, a little annoyed as she is wearing the vault suit. Her, right now, with the bomber jacket on and talking about it, bring her hands into it. That this feels a little uncomfortable. You need time to modify it? I'll be fine. For right now. As long as we're not running around too much, then I should be okay. So, do you want to help out Loyal? I was thinking about checking out the infestation. I can get a good look at their solar array too, if that makes sense. It does. I can check out with Loyal and see what we can do there. If he's working on a device, I can definitely help him out with it. Though, if it's more programming and information like that, I should be better at that. What about you, Chloe? Oh, I mean, I know a decent amount of science. I could probably give you some help or help with the infestation. I don't really know. Skills there are a little rusty, but if Izuku needs help with the array, I can help him there. Along with clearing out the, you know, power station. Right, right. Okay. Really? Yeah, it's fine. We're we're all in this together. Though, remember though, her going to step forwards, bring her hand up, and going to poke her in the chest, telling her that she was here first, before she's to turn and walk off. And Chloe does, so I'm going to laugh a little. Since Marcy, she definitely is getting a bit more relaxed about the situation. And Deku does turn, telling her, so, does she want to look at the array first or the ants? Well, the array's powered down, so we should work on it first, right? So you do remember the basics. Never work on an active line. I think that would be the basics for anything. I'm just joking. Giving you a bit of a test to see where you're at. Come on. The faster we get this done, the faster that we can have breakfast. Break for lunch. I should still have some ramen in my bag or more rat. Him going to start making his way towards the array. And people, they do see these two walking through the area. And Marcy just go to walk in to one of the massive hangars. Her surprised this place. I mean, the barracks, the area, their farms. This place is beautiful. I mean, it's small, but there's still a rather large colony. I mean, there's a lot of children running around here. They're happy. They're safe. They're living a life here. And that, it does it across her mind. Her walking in and looking around, seeing an old destroyed plane. Before she does that turn and see that, her eyes focusing on it and wondering about what they could do. If they can get that thing back up and running, it would be a miracle. I mean, what? Just give it a new shiny coat of paint, a few patch jobs, and hey, switch out the engine and it'll practically be brand new. Might be a few decades older than it should be, but hey, just put it right back in service. That crossing her mind. Before Loyal, he does go to walk up, asking if she's one of the outsiders. And she'll go to confirm this. Before Loyal does explain to her about what he's exactly doing. And right now, we do actually have Deku and Chloe. who they do to walk through the gate and up the stairs, looking a bit closer at the solar array. And Izuku, yeah, he does get to stare at a few of these things. They're old. Some of them are in bad shape. The others are not. Okay. So, frayed wires, possibly some damaged lines. Okay, he could start rerouting a few things. Oh yeah, no, this will take... Oh god, he's looking at an entire job here. That on his mind. And after Deku is going to inspect the third solar panel, he has a turn, telling her about how they might want to start looking at breakfast before they start. And she does understand, asking if Deku does want to go to the mess hall, or if he does want to catch breakfast. And Deku does give her a bit of a smile, before he does get to pull his gun and tell her about how he's more than happy to do that. And she does give him a bit of a grin, before she is going to bare her teeth with a smile. And the two, they do go to turn, making their way to a door and going to open it, as they do go to step inside. Now, they do look at the area, and it does lead into a bit of an open area that does slope down. Them hearing a sound as Chloe and Deku, their ears to perk up. Deku going to pull back his hammer and go to step forwards, holding up his gun as Chloe does go to hold up hers. And Izuku, he does get a little bit more on the defensive. Right now, him curious about what they might be seeing. And the two do step forwards. Currently, them going to see one of the giant ants, and Deku does it a fire. Chloe gonna do so as well as the creature. It doesn't get forwards, close enough to Deku before it is going to try and reach out for him. Deku going to throw up his leg and kick it. Right now, it going to look down before Chloe as a bring up her weapon and fire down into its head. In the end, it does go to slope down before Deku does go to pull his knife and going to stab it down its head before pulling it out for good measure. Him looking down at it before waiting for it to twitch again, waiting for it to move. And he does get to tell her about how this one, it should be big enough for all three of them. Although, if this place is infested, he thinks he might have just found out where their protein's going to come from. Her going to turn, beginning to reload and telling him about how he is not wrong. Though, what about his other gun? It was damaged earlier. Right now, it's either bare hands or I spend the afternoon repairing it. But, if we walk right down there, it might lead to the nest. That's true. A secondary entrance? If it does open up towards more of the power station, we can get a better glance. If this leads down, then the other area where we go into might be the observatory. It's possible. It would be simple to plan, overlook the area, and then if they need to have some sort of access stairwell downstairs. Though, do you think that that's what this place is? I don't know. I think right now, her gonna walk down the ramp, telling him they're in the area where they offloaded all the big crap before they put the wall up. She's pretty sure that's where they're at. And Deku does not disagree. Him making his way down the ramp with her as well. And the two, they do go to encounter a few more of these fire ants. Them rushing at Deku and Chloe as Deku, he doesn't start firing. Chloe firing as well before one is going to get close enough. Her going to bring her hand up and then go to slam her fist down directly onto its head. And the ant's skull, it does it a break. Currently, it hanging to the ground before it does go to lay there and not move. Her bring her gun up and firing. And an ant is a step forwards. It's going to shoot out fire towards her before Deku does see that. Him turning and going to flip his knife in his hand. Before he does, going to throw it over towards the ant, and it is a stab into the side of it. The ant going to scream out before it does going to make its attention towards Deku. And Chloe does go to take advantage of this. Her going to rush forwards and grab onto the ant. Before she does, going to find the knife on the other side and go to drag it across. Her climbing onto its back, her holding up the knife and stabbing down into its head. And right now she is going to ride on top of the creature. Before it does go to fall. Her going to bring up her left hand and pat off the side of her jacket. Before she's going to sit there and let out a bit of a breath. Before she's going to get back to her feet, and Deku does come walking over. Him going to reload his pistol, and this time he does get to talk about it. Bring his hand down and going to pull out some more ammunition, loading in hollow points before flipping his gun closed, telling her, okay, right now they're dealing with a lot. You're telling me these guys are pretty big. Do you think that we'll encounter more of them? I mean, these have got to be full grown, right? I think so. If it's a colony, it's definitely going to be bad. Right, right. So, you want to try the other side now, or should we continue in? I don't know. There's a door at the end of the hall, right? If we open it and they start pouring out, we rush back. Though if there's nothing, I think we'll be fine. At least enough to make our way in. Grab their attention, and if things go wrong, then we start to retreat. Does that sound fair? It does. Her going to walk forwards, as right now she has to at least change her ammunition as well. Loading her weapon, and they're going to pull back the slide. Telling him, okay, she's ready. Deku getting to the door and then going to spin it. Right now him backing up as the door, it does go to slide down and then go to get out of the way. And Deku is a step forwards holding up his gun as he does go to hold up his left hand with his knife. It covered in the fresh ant blood. And right now, they go to step in and look around. Before they do go to stare, one of the mounds that do go to protrude from the ground in front of them. The area is large, and right now an ant, it does go to crawl out followed by some of the smaller ones. And Izuku, he has to start aiming. Him and Chloe firing at the ants and going to take out one of them. The larger one rushing at them, as some others do start pouring out from behind the wall. And Deku does see that. Him going to turn and bring his hand up to Chloe. Before he has to tell her. Right now his gun clicking empty as he does go to flick it open and look at pour the bullets out. Telling Chloe to back out. Her going to do so. Her ejecting her clip and reloading. Turning and going to fire it back as Deku does start pulling out his ammunition, reloading and turning before he does an aim up and going to fire at one of the ants. Right now its head going to explode as is a full limp. And Chloe does continue to fire. Before Deku, he does go to turn his gun and aim. And Chloe, she has to talk about it, focusing on the big one. Deku readjusting his aim and aiming at the big one again. Before he has to pull the trigger and the two, they do go to watch it begin to succumb to the damage. Before Deku, he does go to turn and slam the button on the wall, and the door, it does go to shoot up and then start to lock close. Deku watching that as the ants do start to pound on the door. And he does a turn, talking about it. Right. Maybe they should try the other door. That was close. Yeah. Maybe they can't climb the stairs? I don't know. We said we should check it out. Though, if it's infested too, there might be small ones. Big ones, we don't know yet. You're right. Maybe we should check out the array. Uh, Help me collect what we can. I need to make some red paste. Uh, really? Listen, we're pretty close to running out of stim packs. And like it or not, that stuff works. I don't like it either, but if we don't have it, then it's gonna suck. Trust me, that stuff, it's almost magical. Deku walking over. Before he does go to bend over and go to pick up one of the giant ants. Him slinging it partly over his shoulder before starting to drag it. And Chloe does get someone smile. Her walking over as the two they do start dragging the giant carcasses outside. And Izuku, he does start to get to work with his knife. And Chloe, she does get to leave, allowing Deku to prepare the ants. As she does, gonna make her way over to a hangar and walk in. Her going to try and tell Marcy about the situation. Her turning as she is currently mess with some sort of device. Okay, I almost got it. You sure? Trust me, we've been trying to figure this out for a long time. Don't worry if you don't get it right. What is it, Chloe? Um, we investigated the ant situation. Hmm? Are you guys okay? Your jacket. Oh, I know. We looked into it. It's, definitely infested. If we clear them out, we saw a mound. It's a good chance they might just resurface. Loyal going to express, telling the two that it's happened before, though it hasn't been this bad before. That's why they're building this device. The signal it will emit is supposed to cause a massive amount of damage to the ants. Hell, they won't like it, and it might as well be better than bug spray. And the two do to stare at the man, before they do to talk about it. Yeah, it should be a good deterrent. Right. So, do we get the right frequency yet? Hang on. I'm trying to do the calculations. Going off of what you showed me and going over a few things. It's annoying. I know. It's just, if we don't get this working and we don't get that array up soon, then I got it, I got it, I got it. Just, hmm. This is, hang on. Okay, I might be able to, her going to turn one of the knobs as she does start to adjust something else on the machine. Whenever she does go to stare at it, it does begin to emit a loud sound. Reno, her, and Chloe gonna bring their hands up to their heads. And whenever Marcy does gonna fall over, she does gonna make an animalistic sound. Chloe doing the exact same thing as Deku, he does gonna turn his head, hearing that frequency, as it does start to hurt his ears. And there's where Loyal does his step forwards. Currently, him bringing his hand up and going to turn off the machine, as Marcy and Chloe, the two do sit there on the ground. And Marcy does go to uncover her ears, her sitting up and talking about it. Okay, that frequency might be it. You sure? Yeah. We just increased the. It doesn't matter what I did. It's gonna work, and I'd rather not turn it back on. That's good. Though, Deku currently running into the room. Before he does go look around, he does have his gun, him asking about what happened. However, Loyal does I turn and see him, he does go to step forwards, telling the young man that it's all right. They were just testing the machine, and it does appear that it might work, though there are a bit of side effects to that. And Deku, he does go to holster his weapon, walking forwards as the two they return informing him about it. And Deku tells them, right now he's trying to get breakfast ready. After that, they should clear out the array. Then they can put that device down there and, well, pack up some protein. What are you doing? I'm trying to barbecue some ant, along with make some blood sauces, hopefully. You sure? Trust me, we're gonna need it on our trip. It'd be best if we didn't spend too many caps. I know Chloe hit the jackpot, but I don't know. I might be getting a bit of a taste for it. Seriously, that's too much. I know, but still. It's better than eating the protein these guys have been eating. Loyal looking at Deku, a little annoyed, but telling him, well, then it guesses that he's not going to get any of the alcohol they make either. And this does make Deku raise an eyebrow, expressing, well now, that does sound interesting. Made from corn, right? Yes, sir. Though I don't really know about too much of that now. I just repaired the machines and, well, I do have a bit of a side business. It's alright, Loyal. I'm just messing with you. No offense, but some of that stuff doesn't agree with my stomach. More, you know, meat-based diet. I can understand. Trust me, I get it. Especially with how all of you are, right? Sort of. Deku turning, telling them about how he's going to get back to cooking. After that, he's going to need to repair the array. Deku asking Loyal if he can borrow a toolbox, since it's going to take him a few hours. And the man does understand. Him going to walk over and grab one of the toolboxes, putting it on his desk and going to open it up before looking inside. Deku walking over and telling the man about what he's going to need. Him going to pile it into the toolbox and pull out what he doesn't need, before Deku does a close it shut and then go to lock it. Standing up and expressing, turning about how he's going to be over by the array and they can come meet him in about 10 minutes. He'll have the fire ant cooked. And the two do understand. We do actually have Deku, who, after building a bit of a campfire, he does have everything ready. Right now, him sitting there as he does go to put some of the ant there on a piece of concrete. Him going to bring his hand out and stab down with a stick one of the ant legs that do go to dangle off of it. It overhanging the fire so it can char and cook. And Izuku does go to sit here, hearing the crackle of it before bringing his hand up, looking at his Pip-Boy and going over to his audio notes, pressing start and expressing. Day 400. A lot happened yesterday, so he should give a bit of a proper explanation. He recorded a log yesterday, and after all the excitement, he doesn't know if it mentions the boomers, but here it is. Day 400. The boomers are a tribe of vault dwellers, former vault dwellers from Vault 34. Sometime in their past, they came to Nellis Air Force Base. And, well, that's all they really know. Vault 34 was about having a lot of firepower. The most, in fact. The way these people walk around here with missile launchers, grenades, and firearms, It makes him believe that it could rival their own vault's armory. And he doesn't need to tell them why that is saying quite a bit. Their vault fell into disarray. People stayed who wanted to keep the armory locked up. And the people who wanted their guns, they left with their weaponry. So that does mean quite a bit. If everything he's seen here is only half of their weapons, the other half might still be in that damn vault. And hopefully, along with that, either a suit of power armor or even more artillery. They also do have functioning artillery, as they've been made well aware of, since they did survive an artillery bombardment yesterday morning, and have spent most of today on the base recuperating. He definitely does believe that this does have the potential to be something good. Right now they're trying to help out the tribe and see what they can do there. If they can get in a good standing and favor, hopefully they may have their aid. And that is quite a lot. It's interesting being in a place where they can help their fellow man and not have to fear for the Enclave being a part of it. This might be the only place where they can trust people outside of the wasteland. There's no enemies here. In fact, right now they're under the Boomer's protection, being inside their airfield. And speaking of airfield, Deku going to turn the knob on his Pip-Boy, staring at the map and going to zoom out, before he does go to slide his finger and go to watch on. Him looking at a dot that does go to stop. And it's right there, right down south of Novak. It is Searchlight. That's gotta be it. Off the old highway and there. That being where his tracker does sit with a dot on the map. And Izuku, he does just want to smile. As he does go to bring his finger up and tap down, currently placing a marker as he does go to express that they do have a target. And when they do go to hit it, they plan to hit it hard. Though, after they do get the equipment they need, they still might have to find a place to broadcast. And he does fear Marcy's plan of broadcasting at Black Mountain might be their best solution. The equipment there they might have to use. But there's also the idea of just straight out using their equipment. And that's the problem. It's infested with super mutants. If they go there, they're going to have to be very careful. Deku turning, before he's to bring his knife out and then go to stab into a piece of the fire ant, flipping it over and letting the other side start to cook. Deku expressing. That's all his report can consist of right now. Flipping his wrist as is a turn. Marcy and Chloe walking up and seeing the ants. Mizuku, he does go to start serving out some breakfast. And the three do go to sit here, eating the fire ants as Marcy talks about it. When they do get in there, it should actually cause a few things. It'll mess with the ants' well, frequency. It's gonna fry them. And she does give a bit of a smile as Deku talks about it. That is good. They can recover the bodies and take a look around. You want to go in there? Yeah. We can ask permission, but I'm fairly certain they might not care. If we take a look around, we can repair the array, turn it back on, and make sure it's functioning. Use any resources we found down below to repair it. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. It's going to be a whole thing. They're going to stand. telling Chloe that she can be his pair of hands for the day, right? Her nodding her head. Before Marcy does that, ask what she can do, and Deku does a turn talking about how she already did help the doctor and help out Loyal. Right now, let them at least carry some weight. Her looking at the two before Deku does a turn and go to grab one of the ant legs and go to hold it up before he does go to talk about it. Okay, um, he can show her how to make the red paste if that helps. Really? Uh, Chloe, can you give us a minute? Uh, sure. Her gonna turn before she does go to make her way back to the barrack, talking about it. She's gonna go grab her bag. If this is gonna take some time, then she's gonna get a few things too. And Marcy does a look at Deku. Him going to step forwards and bring his hands out. Her bring her hands up and looking down at them confused. Before she is gonna hold on to Deku's and he is gonna tell her, okay, this is new, right? What do you mean? You're trying to stay active. You're trying to stay busy. Are you still shaking up from yesterday, or are you just trying to get the parts to the array very quickly? I just. I feel like we might be able to go home. Is that bad? No, that's not. That, Deku going to let go of one of her hands, telling her with a finger to her chest, that's good. That is hope, Marcy. Really? Yeah. Listen, we'll get home. Okay? I promise you that. We'll get home. After we warn our people, we need to get something powerful. Power armor. And with Chloe, I think we can form a plan. Catch them off guard. I mean, call me crazy, but with our vault underground, there's very little that we can't throw at them. With your scream or other weaponry, I think it might be good. Maybe. Her leaning forwards, giving Deku a kiss as he does a kiss her back. And this, it does feel nice. It feels better. And for a second, these two, they do to keep an embrace. Right now, Deku telling her, just relax. She was shaken up yesterday too. Isn't she supposed to be a doctor? And she does go to tell him, right now backing away, that she's pretty sure she knows her own limitations. And he does a stare at her. Before he does, gonna give her a bit of a side eye and talk about how he's fairly certain he would know. Shut up. Yeah, fine. Um, so how do you make that stuff? Marcy, just go relax. It's gonna dry out anyways. I I'll show you a bit more about it later. Okay? Fine, fine. I got it. I got it. Her going to make her way back over to the barracks. And Chloe, she does go to meet Marcy halfway. Marcy going to tap her on the shoulder as she does go to walk by. Right now, her gonna walk past with a bit of a smile on her face. And Chloe does get to see that. Her going to try and read Marcy as she's a walk towards the array. Her and Deku getting to work. Now, Deku does start to repair the solar panels. Right now, him using some of the tools and going to see what is wrong. And Deku, yeah. The first solar panel, it does take him a second to figure it out. However, after rerouting some wiring and trying to look at everything, he does get it fixed. It's going to be working less efficiently, but it's running. And that's the major thing. If he had a lot more wire, then yeah, the entire section he could fix, but with that small little part right there, it's going to be a bit iffy. But jury rigging it, it will work. That will last for some time until they can figure out a different solution. Hopefully, they can trade some stuff. Or, well, that might be years later, but their vault can give them some stuff to fix this. At least properly. Then on Deku's mind, him attempting to start jury rigging the other solar panels he does see. And this, it does start to take him a few hours. Him having to pull some of it apart and try and check about what's happening. And Marcy, she does go to sit back at the barracks a little concerned. Her sitting here, however, she's going to start writing those notes for the doctor to pass time. Them detailing a few things and even a few things she learned back at the vault. And this, it does start to take up her day. We do have Deku, who right now, he does go to put the finishing touches on the last solar panel. Before he does go close everything up and talk about it. Currently, him turning to some of the junk they do have left over. Okay. That should do it. Seriously? Chloe walking over. Before she does, go to sit down and dangle her legs off the roof. Talking about it. That took forever. To be honest, I thought we might have to go through the other ones. Don't we? No, no. They look fine. At least for the most part. You good? I'm just tired. Still a little shaken. Though, I slept pretty good. I would hope so. Slept better than I have in a long time, actually. It's been nice. Hmm? Traveling again. I mean, I'm sure I've told you before. I'm feeling better though, too. Still sober, if that's any consolation. It's just, what do you want to do when you get back home? Honestly, yeah, honestly, a nice cold shower might be the first thing. The second might be some barbecue. Oh my god, don't get me started. Trust me, don't even get me started. That are, at least go back to some of the classes, watch some stuff we have cataloged in the vault for entertainment. I mean, have a family dinner. Talk to some friends of mine. I don't know. There's a lot of things that might have changed. Like that one girl from the vault. That might be one. Deku gonna lay back. As he does go to lay fully on the ground. His legs dangling off the building, for he doesn't bring his hands up. Telling Chloe. Right now, that's very confusing. They talked, and they never really, well, she didn't really say it, but she thought that he wouldn't come back. He could tell by the look on her face. She didn't say anything, but that's just how it was. She seemed disappointed that he was going. Was she, though? Yeah, actually, I think so. The look on her face said it all. Me and her were a thing, and it was a nice thing. Was it? Her sitting up, turning and going to actually turn one of her legs as she's asked Deku. If things are different, would he still leave? Hmm? Probably. Gotta be specific. If I knew what I know now, maybe not. Maybe try to come out a bit more prepared, planning ahead, all that type of shit, all that jazz. Maybe. You got us out. I'd say you planned pretty well for what you had. Yeah, there is that. Do you miss Connor? Of course I miss Connor. We all do. Yeah, yeah. Deku staring up at the sky, and it does feel bright, even past these damn goggles. He got lucky. He's not the one who was shot dead. And while that thought, it does travel across Deku's brain, just unfiltered, there is a little bit of weight on his stomach. Him going to snap back to reality and go to look at Chloe, who currently does go to sit there. Her bring her hand up and telling him, right now is not the time to feel sorry for himself. Deku going to sit up as Chloe does not try to move. Currently, Deku sitting up and meeting her face to face, as she does go to lean back and slide onto Deku's lap, telling him, right now is not the time for him to feel sorry. That's what their instructors always told them. If something happens that can be prevented, then they can try to blame themselves. But Tommy and Connor weren't their faults. The Enclave murdered them. Tommy went feral. John, none of them could get out. He went feral. Does he remember what happened after that? No. No, I don't. Good. Then it's not your fault, Izuku. Deku is staring at her. Her dark hair is still a little messy. Still a little bit, well, unkempt. However, her eyes, they do stare at him honestly. They're glow. And Izuku, he doesn't bring his hands up. Her, a little surprised as Deku does go to wrap them around her. And the two, they do to kiss. And Chloe, she is a little bit more surprised. However, a smile is across her face as the two, they do to continue. Sitting here and having their moment. And Chloe, she does feel nice. And Izuku, he does like this. He can let his mind go free. He can keep himself grounded, keep himself aware. Keep them close and keep them safe. They're part of his pack, a part of his tribe. That's what they are. And they're trying to find the rest of them. Trying to get home to their pack. That is what they're doing. And this part to Izuku, it does tell him this on a fundamental level. Their mission takes priority. And that it does tell him quite a bit. However, right now, it's some of the rare downtime they have. They are still recovering and still trying to heal. But with that solar array repaired, they just need to go back in and get the power turned back on. Put that signal jammer in and then turn off the... Well, that's another problem. Okay. They turn on the array, they turn on the signal jammer, and the frequency of it should take out the ants. So when that's said and done, they'll be fine. Right. This should work. That crossing his mind. And what do they do to make their way back over to the barrack? Marcy, she does go to sit there. The door opening, we see a turn and suck in a small breath. Her seeing Deku and Chloe who do to step in. Deku sitting down with a bit of a grin on his face, talking about it. Okay, they got the array repaired. Really? Yeah, it only took a few hours. Though with Chloe's help, it went a little faster. That's good. So we gotta implant Loyal's device and turn it on. Though, I shouldn't have to tell you why that's bad. I heard it too. Flip it on for a second and hopefully clear them all out. From what Loyal said, though, what can you tell me? Well, from testing it, it's supposed to rattle them. I think about the artillery, but a bit more. He wants the frequency to basically be like a lobotomy. Not hard to do, especially with how powerful it is. Though with it echoing off those walls in there, it'll definitely do the job. But it's tuned to them, right? It is. But it's a sound weapon, Izuku. More like a sound gun, if anything else. So we gotta flip the switch and run. Any volunteers? Her giving a half-hearted grin. And Chloe talks about it. Her expressing that she is pretty fast. Plus, given her skills, this is a perfect job for her. She can get in and get out without being noticed. Hopefully. Right. You sure, Chloe? I'll be fine. Trust me. Besides, if I'm not, one of you guys can just save me. Seriously, though. Okay, seriously, though, I can do this. I'll be okay. Besides, I wasn't as affected as Marcy. Fair, but still. I was right next to the damn thing. You weren't. Okay, but again, I already know the path down there. If you go down there, you don't. And Izuku, yeah. He came running. And he's already done a lot of things. I've just been passing him tools. Alright? Okay, but we'll be right there. I've got my radio. I'll give it a click if I need help. Good. Morrissey turning to Deku. And whenever Chloe does get a step out, the two do to follow her. And this plan, it is put in place. Them picking up Loyal's device and going to give a bit of a radio check. As, right now, they do step over towards the door. Chloe going to open it and talking about it. Making her way in and closing the door before pressing the button. Her going to express that Do they copy? Yeah, we do. Good. Okay, so one click from now on. Her letting go. And Deku does respond. They got it. And she does get to walk down the ramp, currently making her way in to the bowels of the facility. Now, she's around the corner, and there still aren't any ants here, so they haven't been able to get through that damn door. That, it is good, though it does mean quite a bit. So, okay, the other door? No, she doesn't know her way around. Okay, but if there is a staircase around the corner, that would be good. Her pressing the button as the door doesn't open. Her going to turn invisible as she does going to move in. Right on the machine on her back. And Chloe does get a look around. Her seeing that some of the ants do sit on the ground trying to get to sleep. And she's going to turn, seeing a massive one as it does going to start crawling out of the hole and coming out. It moving its appendages through the air. And this does cause her to stop. Before it is a turn her direction, and she does gonna bring her hand up and start unholstering her pistol. And that it is with the creature, it does a turn. Currently it scurrying down the way as she does a move forwards. Her unsheathing her pistol and gonna do so. Making her way in and going to set the device down. Before she's a turn and see a stairwell that doesn't lead up. Her turning her head and going to see a power box. And that's good. Okay. So she can turn on the power box here. She can turn on these generators. Turn on the connections to either Ray and make her way up the stairs and hit the second box. Okay. This works out well. She can see some of the lines that need to head that way. Either the box is upstairs or it's closer to the other generators. Okay, that's good. Her going to stand up and step forwards. Her going to flip the box before the lights do to turn on. And she does going to start hearing some of the generators powering up. Her turning as she does go to step forwards and lean over. Turning on the radio as she does go to start to hear that frequency begin to start building. Her essentially hearing the countdown before it does start to get really, really bad. Her going to step off with a sprint and going to run. One of the giant fire ants going to turn and see her. It going to try and turn around as she does, going to leap onto its back and then going to smash down onto it. Her jumping off as she does go see another ant. It crawling out of a mound before she's to run past. Her going to turn and going to hit the stairs, making her way up as something it does go to come down. Her seeing an ant before she's a turn. Her grabbing the second power box and going to switch it back on. Before the sound, it can be heard and it does a ring through her ears. Her making her way up the stairs and going to bring up one of her hands. Her going to bring them down and then slash them upwards. Her uppercutting and going to sink her claws directly into this large ant. Before she's going to flip it over the railing and then she's going to bring her left hand up, grabbing her ear and going to walk. Currently, her stepping into a hallway and making her way through. As she does, going to turn and run. Right now, her ears ringing, and it's loud. Before she's going to turn and see a door. Her running over and going to press the button as it is beginning to slide open. Her going to step outside and continue to start running, making her way about 20 feet from the building as she does go to open her line, telling them about how she's out. And this, it does give Deku and Marcy a sigh of relief, since they're concerned for her just went down. They could vaguely hear that sound, and when that buzzing started to tickle their ears, they got a lot more worried. Before she's come walking around the building, telling them about what is going to be happening, and this matter finally being solved, it does give them a sigh of relief. And they do to walk back over to their barracks. Currently, Chloe talking about her ears ringing. And Deku, he does start to express about them talking with Mother Pearl. And there is where Deku does do so. Marcy going to make her way back to the barracks to check on Chloe. And she does determine that she will be fine in a few hours, if not an hour or so. Her ears just might be sensitive to sound for a second. Her writing her notes back over to the doctor. And Izuku, when he does step in, there is Mother Pearl. And this, it does have her rather excited. Whenever she was notified of the power being turned back on, she was relieved. And right now, Deku, he does see the woman sitting at a terminal, her typing a few things in before turning, and expressing this to Izuku. And Deku does tell her, "It was relatively alright. Young man, you have been a blessing. We don't know how to thank you. It's quite alright. Listen, we're just glad to meet people out here that we can trust. That's really about it. This place is beautiful. If we could extend an offer, whenever our people are on the surface, we'd like to possibly partner with yours. Is that it?" "Yes. We have a public sector, though I doubt your people would fit right into it. We also have military sectors. The boomers. I believe that they could be our Air Force." "Is that right? If you'll have us, we can help you." "I'm sure you could. Though there is one last thing that we could use your help with. If you do want us to be an Air Force, as you do say, we'll need a proper vehicle." "But you want something that can fly? We can get you vertibirds." "Not just vertibirds, young man. Not just them. Talk to Loyal. He'll give you a bit more information." Izuku going to nod, as she's expressed. They're free to stay here for as long as they need. And if they do ever come back, well, she will say this. They're welcome to do so. They'll make sure to look out for the horns on his head. Or their ears. And Deku, he does get to tell her. Just look out for the bandana. And the goggles. Along with the horns. That might be the best one. He is going to start growing them out again soon. They tend to grow fast. And she's going to nod her head before Deku does go to leave. Her turning back and typing a few things in. As she does sit here a little bit more satisfied than the prior day. And with that being said, Deku, Morrissey, and Chloe do get to meet up with Loyal, learning about what the man does want to do. He wants to attach Basilisk to a plane that got sunk in the water, that got sunk in the lake. It's completely out of the question. I mean, it sounds insane. Someone has to swim down there and attach a basilisk so that that thing can float up to the surface. Then they plan to have robots bring the thing back. It's definitely a plan. It's something that they could do. It's not that far away. And, well, the man's willing to give them what they need. the basilisk and the detonator to trigger them. So yeah, if they can get this job done, they'll be on their way. And this idea, it does satisfy the three. They can keep the detonator till the next time they come back around. But Loyal, he does want the thing back, even expressing about how they can make a rebreather so that one of them can go down there, since it will be quite the trip in the river. And the man, he does tell them about it, asking if any of them do have a pressure cooker on hand. And this, it does somewhat annoy them, as Deku does tell them about how he does have parts for one, but isn't exactly one. And the man does tell Deku to talk to his assistant, who will give him some help in that regard. Now, with that being said, Deku, he does do so. And the plan to try and get the lady out of the water, or the lady in the water, the plans for the lady in the water, they do need to be enacted. And right now the group, they do go to head back to their barracks, resting and trying to make a plan. Since one of them's going to need to go underwater. And that does sound interesting. Though the area that they're at, it's going to need to be investigated beforehand. And Chloe, yeah, she is a little intrigued as well, since the area they're going to, it's very close to Bitter Springs. And this, it does somewhat have her a little unease. The NCR have an outpost there. She's never seen it, but if they go there, if they're in the area, she wants to pay her respects. At least see the place. And Deku and Marcy, the two do want to discourage her about this. But she's quite adamant about it. And the two do understand. As right now they do get a rest, waiting on what they can do. And they do get to take the rest of the day off. Right now, spending some time together. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.